People in Turkey and Syria are once again scared and shaken. Two more powerful earthquakes have rocked both countries 2 weeks after devastating tremors killed more than 47,000 people. Well, the epicenter of Monday night's stronger magnitude 6.4 quake was near the city of Antakya. Buildings that were already weakened have now collapsed, killing at least 6 people. And parents are left consoling their terrified children yet again. In northwest Syria, people fled buildings as the shaking began. The White Helmets volunteer group reported more than 130 injuries. Asad Beg begins our coverage from Hatay in Turkey.
3 more victims to add to the tens of thousands of people who have already lost their lives. 4 men were trapped inside this building. Only 1 made it out alive. They'd come to salvage what they could of their belongings when the earthquake hit, the third in the space of 2 weeks. Their family members waiting, hoping their relatives would be brought out alive. Instead, they saw their loved ones carried out in body bags. Rescue workers had been winding down their operations when the earthquake struck.
We were planning to go back to our homes. This earthquake has extended the process. We never left the rescue operation. We continued our fight, did our best to pull out people alive.
Elsewhere, a building that had survived 2 earthquakes in southern Turkey, now gone. Somewhere in Hatay province, a car dash cam captures the moment. A woman screams. The earth trembled. All the buildings in Hatay have collapsed. They are dead. And at the airport, panic as the quake hit. A politician's TV interview from an aid distribution center interrupted. For families already traumatized, disbelief, the terror has come again.
We were very scared. We thought the ground would tear apart.
A nation rocked just 2 weeks after twin earthquakes upended the lives of millions, killing tens of thousands and destroying countless homes.
It was very shaky, we hardly stood up. It was very difficult, it was going to happen. We were expecting that, so right now, we're expecting more. So everybody should be, more prepared about this.
This is the moment the quake struck Aleppo in rebel-held northern Syria. More misery for people suffering severe shortages in food, medicine and housing on top of a decade-old civil war. Families are already sleeping on the streets in freezing conditions. Back in Turkey, Hatay's mayor says people are trapped under the rubble. People poured into the streets another night in the cold as a sense of fear prevailed. There have been thousands of aftershocks, and this latest earthquake has people asking where they can go to be safe. Asad Beg, Al Jazeera, Hatay, southern Turkey.
Well, Rob McBride joins us live now from Defne, the epicenter of Monday's quake. Rob, tell us more about these latest earthquakes.
That's right. These 2 quakes really adding more misery and suffering to an area and people that have already suffered so much. This is the district of Daphne. This is on the edge of the city of Antakya, one of the cities that suffered so much of the devastation of this earthquake 2 weeks ago. And this was the epicenter of one of those quakes. It happened at about 8 p.m. local time here. It was measured 6.4 in magnitude. So it was a substantial quake here. And it happened at a time when people were coming back to buildings that have already been damaged and have been sifting through what used to be their homes, looking for possessions. We're on one street that has seen now extra damage. This building here, this used to be a 5-story building like the buildings either side of it. This had been damaged in the initial quake, but had still been standing. Sadly, people tragically were back inside this building when this second quake happened, and rescue had to recover 3 bodies from this one building. All down this street, we are told by the soldiers who've been here for a week now, they've said that the quake from Monday night has completely changed once again the look of this street. This street was already very badly damaged. As you walk along here, already some of the buildings were already gone. They were turned into piles of rubble. Other buildings, though, were still standing. They may have been toppled over to one side. They were still standing even though they were damaged. Some of those buildings are even further damaged, or as we've already seen, a number of the buildings completely collapsed once more, adding to these piles of rubble here.
Well, indeed, devastating scenes there. And Rob, the recovery effort from the original earthquakes was challenging enough, but this will surely make matters even worse.
That's right. Here in Antakya, I think on a Sunday, they announced the last actual rescue operation looking for survivors in one building. So officially on Sunday, the actual rescue efforts had stopped. They are now moving into the recovery phase. And still with the people who are living in their thousands in tented cities all around here and other cities, they have been wanting to get back into buildings to try to get possessions, what they can salvage. Again, this is thrown all of that into confusion. It has raised alarm. People who were once again living out in the streets under tents were once again outside, reliving, if you like, all of the trauma of living through earthquakes once more. And since since Monday night's earthquakes, we have been having literally scores of more aftershocks. So it is an incredible concern for everybody who is here trying to rebuild their lives and wondering when that's going to happen. Also for the construction effort that is meant to get underway. As we were driving through Antakya, our producer was just pointing out all of the different registration plates of literally hundreds and thousands of vehicles, of diggers, of excavators that are all being brought to this part of Turkey to start the effort of clearing away rubble, of reconstruction. But all of that clearly is on hold while we wait to see what other tremors, what other quakes we might have in this already very badly affected area.
Rob McBride, thank you. Well, staying with this, Rasul Serdar joins us live from the Al Hammam crossing near the northwestern Syrian city of Afrin. Rasul, how are people coping with earthquakes?
Well, this border gate here has been opened in 2018 after Turkey conducted a military incursion in Syria, and since then it was usually used for the military purposes. However, after the earthquake, now it is being also used for the humanitarian aid as well. Not far from here, just 10 kilometers away, there's a town of Cenderes, and 25 kilometers deeper, there is Afrin. So these two cities, these two towns particularly, were hit very bad here. And as a result, more than 6,000 people have died. 150,000 people are now displaced again. So, and also there are many more thousands that are still waiting for the help, and they are injured. So I have been talking to the Syrians here. So now they are suffering from the shortage of the clean water. There is no electricity, no heaters here, not proper blankets as well, particularly for children. It is quite difficult here. And also the rescue efforts here has not been adequate. So on the Turkish side, we have seen that the roaring noise of the excavators, the diggers, heavy lifting machineries, and also thousands of the professional rescuers days and nights relentlessly working to save the lives there. But when you come to the Syrian side, it's completely silence. The silence of grief, silence of abandonment, and they lack the modern equipment. Indeed, they were using very much rudimentary equipment, and even sometimes with their bare hands trying to pull out their loved ones out of the rubbles here. So that was one of the main problems here, the lack of the international aid that arrived very late. Only days after the earthquake hit this region, the international aid started to get in. However, it is very much little, and they say it is very much, it's too late as well. They feel, Syrians here, they feel that they're abandoned, they're forgotten by the international community, and they said that their voice was not heard through the last more than a decade of the civil war, and now they're caught in another disaster. So here in Syria, the disasters are just overlapping. And when it comes to the health facilities, though that is hosting those who have the thousands that have been injured, so they are either collapsed or heavily damaged, or they do not have any modern medical equipment. And usually they do not have the proper staff as well. So that's why life here is quite difficult. And also throughout the last 2 weeks, we have seen hundreds and hundreds of the Syrian families who fled the war in Syria almost a decade ago, came to Turkey to begin a safe life. And now they are also now getting back to Syria, some of them to attend the funerals of their loved ones, some of them to meet up the survivors. And also on the top of that, we had the officials are saying that more than 1,500 dead bodies belonging to Syrian refugees in Turkey have been taken back to Syria to be buried in their home country. So that is now the situation of them. These people, that millions of the people who left Syria, came to Turkey to begin a new safe life. Now they're caught in another disaster, and they're back to where they started. So they now have to restart from scratch.
Rasul, for now, thanks for that update. Omar Al-Harani reports from Afrin, where people are forced to sleep on the ground.
This is a football pitch in the middle of Afrin city, where residents flocked in panic following the most recent earthquake and subsequent tremors. As you can see, in the absence of tents, people are lying on the ground, spending the night here for fear of imminent shakes. Many of them are survivors who lost their homes in the first 2 earthquakes 2 weeks ago. Their sufferings have not come to an end. Now there's a shortage of shelter, food and medical supplies. It's by all measures nothing but a tragedy in the northern part of Syria amid a poor response from the international community. The recent earthquake has exacerbated their sufferings. We witnessed the state of overwhelming panic, reminiscent of the early moments of the first earthquake that hit the area on February 6th.